Edutrainment Workshops, the insurance industry's leading education and training platform, presents Life Insurance, the entry-level series, the products, the underwriting, and the planning applications to position your practice as the premier provider of insurance products in your community. Get on board, get on track, get to where you're going. And now, your Edutrainer, national insurance columnist, Steve Savant.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm Steve Savant, your Edutrainer and coach for our Edutrainment Workshops. And we're doing our entry level into life insurance. And this week, we're doing our introduction into Guaranteed Universal Life. If you have come into our training right in the middle, I still recommend that you go all the way back out and watch the shows in succession. I think it'll help you learn a lot better. So please do that. Now listen, we're using a software program that we think is excellent for training and teaching. We've chosen the Eclipse illustration software by our sponsor, Lincoln Benefit Life, an Allstate company, because it's an excellent tutorial piece. And if you're coming into our business right away, first thing I say is download this software. Go out www.lblsales.com/ETW. You'll come to this page. You'll go right to Eclipse Illustration Software Installer. You'll download the actual software, and you'll be able to go page by page with me. And we think it's an excellent tutorial, and it's helped you with a big learning curve. Another thing Lincoln Benefit provides, and I think it's excellent, you can see the actual URL down at the bottom of the film, or the description on our search engine optimization. You'll see that. You can cut and paste that it's so long I don't want to get into it now, but the URL, paste it in, and here's some of the issues that I like. I love the life insurance review brochure. That's an excellent piece. I also really like Facts of Your Life booklet. It comes in an electronic form or a hard copy form. It's great to harvest and use as an inventory for all your clients' asset. I like the electronic version because I can have a copy and my client can have a copy, as well as they have several prospecting letters and postcards. So if you say, boy, I need to have a promotional piece, or how do I advertise for life insurance? They have several versions of which you can choose from. And remember, even though it is compliance approved by Allstate, if you're a FINRA representative, you're going to have your compliance department is going to have to okay this. So don't forget to submit that to them. And I think you'll find it to be really helpful. I really like it. And remember, one of the big things is, if you've missed any of our shows, and today I have to talk a little bit about the Business Insurance Zone, we did a whole week on guaranteed life insurance premium. 3 of those days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we spoke exactly about Guaranteed Universal Life, including Second to Die. And we had on as our featured special guest, Jessica Lopez, who's our National Director of Sales in Life Insurance, and that was an excellent show. Just hop out to our site. If you like what you hear this week, hop out to the site and review that show at www.brokersalliance.com, and you'll be able to see that right on our on-demand video, as well as we had Bobby Samuelson in here for our Mortality Mechanics series, which was, I have to say, one of the most excellent shows we've ever done on the Business Insurance Zone. You can hop out to that site, and in that 5-part series called the Mortality Mechanics, all the life insurance chassis we addressed. The Tuesday show is on Guaranteed Universal Life. I think you'll find it to be really interesting, a little deeper than what we do here, but I think you'll like it. If you like what you saw today, go out, www.brokersalliance.com. And of course, as always, we're giving away our life insurance manual and our patented vocabulary list that goes with it, so that if you hear anything I'm talking about and you say, what does that mean, Steve? The vocabulary list is right there while you're watching the show. You'll be able to see that through the workshop. We say, go ahead and order it, absolutely free. thebiz at brokersalliance.com. That's THEBIZ at brokersalliance.com, and we'll send it right to you. Well, today we're going back into the illustration system. And we left off here at this page here. We're just starting to get into the numbers. And one of the things I want to talk about today is not only the numbers, which we've mapped out here, and you can see all the way out. Whoops, we're getting a little too big. I want to show you all the way out. We showed this on the ledger, the summary statement ledger. Now we're showing it on the actual proposal. Notice, again, no guaranteed surrender cash value at all after age 94. But I paid my premium, $36.04 on this case, and my $250,000 of coverage is still online all the way out to age 121. So even though I have no supporting cash values, this product, which looks similar to something like you'd buy with term, similar, but its no lapse secondary guarantees gives you the ability to write a check and get guaranteed contractual death benefit in case something happened any time between now and age 121. Now, of course, if you live longer than that, well, there's a problem, and some carriers have already went ahead and leapt forward on this and stated life of the insured. They didn't even want to put a number in here anymore. So you'll want to look at a contract like this. Those are the numbers. What's really easy about guaranteed universal life proposals is it is what it is. It's basically laid out. We're not going to use net distributions, as I said yesterday, and we're going to be looking at basic. I paid my premium. I have my death benefit. That's what I'm looking for. Now, when we go to the balance sheet, and this is a whole nother idea. I'm looking at the balance sheet here, and it shows every year and the age, corresponding age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 59, 60, 61, the age. Here's my premium outlay, just like we saw in the illustration. It actually shows you the premium charge for every year. $216 is the actual premium charge. Now again, even though this is a bundled approach for construction of a life insurance chassis, there actually is physical numbers in here. Policy fee, admin charge, cost of insurance, and writer charges. So the premium charge is $216 out of that premium. I have a policy fee of $120. I have an admin charge of $450, and my cost of insurance is $1,916. Now notice, every year it goes up. $20.94, $23.11, $25.78, $28.91, $32.37, $3,600, and by the time I get to the 8th year, the internal annual renewable term exceeds my guaranteed premium. But we've already been online. They've given us a guaranteed of $3,604, and so they're looking to see how they can price that out. And what they've done, as you see in the succeeding years, look at how big this gets. So they've really amortized your premium, even though they have an internal charge that looks so much more higher than that. And that's why you say those charges are so high. That's why there's no cash value inside these contracts like this. Now again, you can get liquidity riders to go with this. This is one of those contracts that you could do. But all the time I'm looking at these charges and expense loads. And remember, some people use the cash value test, or they use shadow account testing. Whatever they're doing for their no lapse guarantee, I can look at the entire balance sheet here and see exactly what they're charging. Again, policy fee, admin charge, cost of insurance, and if I did have, I don't have in this case, but if I had any rider charges, it could have been waiver premium or whatever, I'd have that right in here. I can look at my balance sheet, and remember, the fiduciary market, your trust officers, CPAs, attorneys, they all like to see the mechanics of the balance sheet. So that's one reason why I like to print it, so that I have it all there and I have the ability to make that. And then it goes a little disclaimer about all guarantees are based on the claim paying ability of Lincoln Benefit. In this case, this company's very strong balance sheet. Their parent company, Allstate, obligates their numbers or whatever their commitments are. They stand behind it. So it's a really good to say that. And by the way, just a little side note, not to be too sponsorship here, but remember, not all parent companies have direct obligations to the subsidiaries like Allstate has to Lincoln Benefit. And it's a feature when you get into bigger cases because people want to know, hey, would the parent company come to the rescue of a subsidiary in case they fell on hard times? It's just an interesting point. I don't want to get into it today, but it's an interesting issue. Now, I want to talk about this because this becomes important as we go on next week and the week after. I'm introducing you to this. I talked a little bit about this last week, but I want to talk a little bit more. Anytime I see a mistake in the illustration, I can bet bottom dollar. If I come to the input summary page, I'm going to be able to see where I made my mistake. 90%, believe it or not, this is going to be a shocker, 90% of wrong proposals are gender. I know you meant to put the male in, but you put the female in. Now, let me tell you why that's bad. Most of the time, people don't pick it up either. You hand the proposal to the client sees the female rate, which is going to be what? Less than the male rate. So when I look at that, the client's going to say, there's the number, and you're going to have to come back with a little bit of egg on your face and say, I'm sorry, I plugged in the wrong number. What do I like to do? Always review. I published it. I go back to my input sheet. Did I put male in? Oh, I didn't. I put female in. Well, change it out before you show it. Second biggest issue, did I put in the right age, or in my view, try. I know you can't always do it at the front end of a discussion with a client or a new client, a prospect, but I want to find out that age by date of birth. The client says he's 49, but remember, certain carriers do actual age or age nearest. The client, like Lincoln Benefit, does actual age, and they let you backdate to save age, which could really make it a competitive issue. So I always want to know, is that date of birth correct? And always make sure you know it. And remember, I didn't backdate on this, but I could have elected to do so. So then I want to know, what classification? Did I actually put the right classification? Did I put the right rating? Did I put the right flat extras for underwriting's sake? I want to know the classification, health classification, and did I do the right thing? I also want to look at, did I plug in the right death benefit? And you say, well, Steve, how hard is this? Well, believe it or not, we make mistakes like this all the time. I'm sure it's just an input or the wrong stroke of a key, but I want to be able to check, is that the coverage I wanted to do? And is it, remember, in some cases, is it level death benefit or is it increasing death benefit? I want to look at years to pay. I could have said 10 pay, 20 pay, but in this illustration, I'm using all pay. What's the periodic premium? I'm telling them, hey, I'm doing a periodic premium on an annual basis. So that's my annual premium. It is my premium. I didn't use any 1035 exchange money, but I could have. If I had an old policy and I wanted to exchange it into a new one, I could have done a 1035 exchange so that there wouldn't be any taxable event. It would go from carrier to carrier in the exchange. I want to know the 1035 amount received. Is it going to be at issue? And I want to know, are there any loans? Because you could carry over some of your 1035 may have some loans on it. I need to know what part of that is pure cash and what part of that is policy loan. And I also want to know, did I search, how many years did I search to keep the guarantees online? I could have searched to age 90. I could have searched to age 85. In this case, I said last. And in last, in their language, would be age 121. I also want to know, what is some of the issues that I say in my contract? If I brought in a 1035, do I know the basis? Because if I ever surrender the contract and the cash exceeds the basis, I will more than likely be subject to ordinary income tax. If I know the basis, I want to plug it in. I want to be able to adjust for the MEC. I want to say, did I actually do that, just in case I have a problem? And remember, I spoke on this and taught on this about a month back. And then I want to look at rider tabs. Did I put any riders on here? And I didn't in this case, but I could have, and I would want to make sure that I select the correct rider. This is another mistake we see chronically with people doing illustrations. They come out and they hit the wrong rider, and they're saying, well, I've already paid for it and everything else, but maybe it's not a long-term rider. Maybe that's what you wanted, but you hit the waiver of premium or the continuation of premium rider. You want to be able to make sure the riders. That's why I always ask you, when you're learning, especially early on, get in a habit of coming to the input page and correcting it before you show it to the client. The worst thing is you're going to say, the client's going to say, well, I want to see the real numbers. And that may say, well, you got to go back to your office, or you got to open up your laptop and do it again. At least you don't have to go back to your office study. You can open up your laptop now. And you can go ahead and plug in the real numbers. But you might have already published it. Maybe you don't have a printer capability where you're at. You just want to be able to make sure you've done your homework before you go in front of the client. And remember, anytime I have an illustration, you want your client to sign off that they took constructive receipt of the illustration, they've received it. And remember, even though an illustration is much more an advertisement of what we're going to do, remember, it's not part of the contract, always let the client know. This is just illustrating, it's demonstrating, it's displaying what we've been talking about. It is not a contract. You have not bought life insurance. This is not the policy. Just want to make sure, it sounds so elementary to you and I, but really, these are the things that get people in trouble, and he said, she said. So I always want to make sure that I've went through my input page, and so that I can feel secure about what I've talked about. And remember, anytime you're looking at disclosures, the company strength, you want to be able to go out and say, what are the ratings of this company? Because guaranteed contracts, whether term or guaranteed universal life, are only as good as the company standing behind them. And in this case, if it's a subsidiary company that has a parent company, I want to know, does the parent company actually back up its subsidiary? And in this case, our sponsor, Allstate, does back up Lincoln Benefit Life on all their obligations. It's really a fine point, but it's a big point, especially when we're talking about guaranteed contracts with UL.
This has been an Edutrainment Workshop, the educational division of the National Insurance Clearinghouse, the marketing arm of Brokers Alliance. and sponsored by Lincoln Benefit Life, an Allstate company.